Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be going completely over Clashfronts and also the different defenses I'm planning to set up for the upcoming deployment phase. So number one thing is your guild will have to appoint 5 different members to be vanguards. And in the appointment leaderboard, it will show the people with the highest base power up on top, because usually the players who have the highest base power have the most heroes built up on their account and the most invested into those heroes. And so for example, for my guild, we have just picked the highest base power players from the guild to be the different vanguards, which are from Splash down to myself, or down to Farcalis, who is number 5. So the vanguards will have to deploy 5 different formations, and that can be a little bit difficult because already putting together 3 teams in Supreme Arena is tough. So what I would recommend, if you have to be a vanguard for your guild, and let's say you don't have enough heroes built up to put together 5 strong teams, I would still recommend make your 3 strongest teams possible, like from Supreme Arena, and then make 2 kind of average teams after that, because you're going to want to have teams that have a high chance of winning. If you kind of spread out all the power evenly and even weaken your teams which have the strength to win some matches, it's not going to be better for you. So that's kind of the strategy I've done with my formations. Also, it's kind of weird with the formation, each time I preview it or I try to edit it, it just completely removes everything. So we're going to redo basically my formations here, and I'm going to just briefly talk you through them. So my overall strongest team from even Supreme Arena that has potential, it is even one-time beat Splash, who has Paragon 4 heroes and really well built up teams, is my Skirly Destroy team. So definitely your overall strongest teams, they should be a part of one of your formations because you're going to do well with them. And it gives you a high chance of winning, and maybe enemy teams will just not be able to break through it, and you can get up to 3 consecutive wins with a team in Clashfronts before it starts to get fatigued, and I'll talk more about that later. But basically, after 3 consecutive wins, then there is a ruling put in place to weaken the stats of your heroes over the number of battles they do from that point on, and eventually they become so weak that anyone can just defeat that team, so that, for example, Splash can put his strongest team and wipe the floor with everyone that he comes into contact with. So that is a good thing, but it does last for 3, you can get 3 consecutive wins, which is big. Okay, so this is my Skirly Destroy team, which has done the best for me in Supreme Arena. I'm gonna keep to it. I'm not a big fan of the fact that I have to put my in a Stroll team, I don't feel like Wilder buff tiles synergize the most, because Wilder buff tiles are more about a nuking, finish the enemy quickly off type team comp, because you have that shielding, but when the shielding is depleted, your effective HP is actually reduced to 50% of what your maximum HP is, because you give up permanently some of your HP in order to get that shielding and that effect. But still, I want to keep them on the buff tiles for the unaffected. And Tidecall spell, because I said it times really well. Usually when Skirlita descends, the Tidecall spell is just being summoned, and you get a lot of value. You can combo with Skirlita's ultimate onto debuffed enemies, or you can just attack reduce them so that Skirlita can survive more effectively. So this is the first team I'm going to run. Now the second team I'm going to run is going to be, now this is really the tough part, and I need to think about it. Because I can go for a full sort of Almas Iron control team with Brian to prevent the enemy Lilymate intercepting me, and I think I want to do that for one of my teams, but I don't know, I don't think it's my overall strongest team. It's kind of distributing my power across different teams. So either way, I'm going to go for my Mauler team first, because I know for sure I'm going to want to have a Mauler team with these heroes, and I really liked how Rainier performed in my Mauler team to buff up the Shakira, because it gives Shakira the potential of just soloing the enemy team. And I mean, Binding Spell would not be bad here. Even Resonating Spell is a possibility onto the Shakira. He becomes pretty insane with it, but I think Verdant Spell is also really good and really safe, right? It would give Shakira penetration to hit harder, and it gives really good stats. Yeah. Okay, now for the final hero here, I was running Vala on my Supreme Arena defense, but I'm thinking I'm going to go for a Lightbearer team, and I'll run Vala in that, so I will not be able to run Vala here. Now for the final hero to be run here, there are quite a lot of options. I honestly don't know what the best option is. I'm seriously considering Mikola, because the advantage of Mikola here is that we have a lot of melee heroes. If Mikola can survive and get off her Courage Sphere, she's going to power up my Shakira and Brutus even further. Also, we're going to gain probably control of the On Arena, gaining attack buff for my team. And hopefully, if Mikola can survive, I think this could be great. But I am worried about Mikola dying, but I am going to try this team. I feel like this is going to be a pretty cool team. If you don't have Mikola, you can replace her here for Odie, for even Friesto as another tank. You could basically put any hero here. It's just, these are the core units other than Mikola, and then just put anything in front of the Coco who you think would fit the best. Now for my Iron control team, I'm going to go for the Resonating spell to try and charge up Arden in the back fast. Now, I'm still really confused about how, because on defense and on offense, have they made the because they said they were going to mention clearly who is the frontmost and who is the rearmost on your team, but I can't find that anywhere. But okay, so I'll mess up in the front. On the buff tiles, it's Elsa. If you're going to go for the full lockdown crowd control team, you don't go for Carolina, you go for Elsa if you have her. Otherwise, you can go for Carolina here too, if you don't have Elsa built. But I'm going to probably use Carolina in another, like, Graveborn team. Now, for the final hero here is going to be Brian. You have to run a hero, which will take the Lily May interruption. I believe how it works. On offense, I think you have to put the Brian in front of Iron when you're attacking into an enemy Lily May defending. But I believe when you're on... It's really confusing. When you're on defense, I feel like the Brian will get interrupted if he's behind the Iron. Like, I think Lily May prioritizes your backline target, the backline target when she's being used on offense, right? I'm not completely sure. I need to maybe watch some replays to actually verify. But it's difficult to even see it because people don't usually run Brian. I think this is the formation, the positioning I need. I'm pretty sure it is because I remember on offense, I tried this position and it didn't work. Because it's like the opposite. On offense, you need Brian in front of Iron. And on defense, I think you need Brian behind Iron. I'll think about it or you guys can let me know. And then maybe we can change that. Okay, now we are left with the leftovers, and not even bad leftovers. We have Lily May here, Lily May Granny. We could even run another Wilder faction team if we wanted to, and maybe forget about the Lightbearer comp. And then we could even run Vala in that Mauler team with the Mikola. Another thing to mention is that you gain no benefit of having like 4 Maulers compared to 3. As soon as you unlock the factional buff tiles, with 3 of a faction, you have all of the stats on your entire team from that whole faction talent tree you've upgraded, and then all of the prime carrier buff tiles value. So if you had 5 Maulers, 3 Maulers, it won't make any difference to your stats. That is something that I realized like more recently. I didn't even know that. I thought that you would think that you also get the factional synergy on top of this, but you don't. It's the factional talents are replacing the factional synergy in the game modes where the factional talents apply. Yeah, this team... Honestly, this is like a cheese team, and I'm fine even if it loses because, I don't know, it can force, I mean, I think it can still be pretty strong. The permanent lockdown. The problem is this team is weaker in this season because of the unaffected nature of the different buff tiles. Like, if the enemy runs Wilders in here, I'm not in a good position at all. If the opponent runs, what is the other thing they could run? They could run Maulers if they have that unaffected boost, which like I do on my Maulers. Then again, I'm not in a great position. So overall, I do not think that this team is strong into a lot of teams we're going to face. But it's kind of like, it's a decent team. And so I'm just going to go for a decent team right now. Okay, Binding Spell is a good artifact. Now, who do we want to run? Graveborns now, Lightbearers, or run another Wilders? It's a tough call, honestly. Graveborns, I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest. I'm thinking about running Wilders. I think I'm gonna run Wilders, maybe with the Rowan. Something like this. And on the buff tiles, we can have Parissa and Carolina, which are still really strong options for the buff tiles. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of the Wilder faction talent compared to Graveborn and Lightbearer for PvP. But for my final team, I might run a Graveborn team for the final. We could do Viperon, Sylvina, Ludovic. But we have no tank then. Well, Friesto. Could run Friesto. We basically just have to make up all the heroes we have left over. Find a place for them. Light bearers, you could go for a light bearer team, Rowan, Vala, Tunisia, or Rowan, Vala, Korin. If you have those, like, if that is a team you want to go for, I think that would be fine. And Vala and Rowan on the buff tiles, maybe. I think it wouldn't be bad. However, I think for me, I think I'm gonna go for Graveborn. Graveborn buff tile, Viperon, Sylvina. Friesto. Viperon can be pretty strong on the buff tiles. We can give him damage reduction. Do we want to give him attack? I think for my final artifact, I'm going to go for the Valor Shield. This is going to apply shield to the frontmost and rearmost ally that you have. And while the shield is in effect, of course, it will take damage for you, but also it will make your heroes, those heroes shielded, unaffected. And the shield can last for up to 10 seconds, I believe. So I think energy probably on the Viperon to cast its ultimate. Yeah. And damage reduction onto the Sylvina, who doesn't care as much about the ultimate. But then the problem is for a final hero, the Ludovic is not gaining any value. You know, we could actually put maybe Ludovic like here, give the attack buff to the Viperon. And as a final hero, we haven't used Vala, we haven't used Odie. We need to make use of these heroes.
What kind of treasure awaits us today?
Vala, maybe Vala with the energy tile. What about this? Ludovic with damage reduction from the first illusion. We can try it. The heroes which are going to be unaffected though are not really what we want. Like Viperon already has methods of becoming unaffected, but I guess the shielding can be good for his survivability. Another option is we could actually try having Vala. Vala on the Graveborn buff tile. Because I think Sylvina probably isn't going to get multiple kills. If we're lucky, she can get even a single kill. Damage reduction onto Sylvina. Yeah, how about this? How about this team? Yeah, and then Vala shield onto Vala and the Friesto. Now, the thing is, when you have to make so many different teams, it's really difficult to come up with your 5 top formations. And I think we could rearrange teams here, and we could come up with something maybe even better. Or like certain teams which would be better. The heroes I'm missing out on, Odie, Smokey, Cassidy, Igor, Korin, Tunisia, Cecia, Reese. These are all potential options I could be including into teams, but I don't know, they just don't really perfectly fit that well into the teams that I'm planning to run. So, and I'm a fan of the Wilder buff tiles. I think that would be good. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the teams. I don't know, maybe it would have just been better for me to run exactly my 3 Supreme Arena defense teams, and then just with all the leftover heroes come up with 2 mediocre teams. But here I've kind of distributed the power across multiple teams. All of them have a pretty decent chance of winning. And hopefully this can also give you an idea, like based on the heroes you have developed or built, what ones you can run. And definitely you could do Vala, Korin, and Rowan in a single team for the Lightbearer tiles if you want to do that. That would be fine, but for me, I just wanted to have the Graveborn tiles instead of Lightbearer. Okay, so I hope that these will work out pretty well. Let's save these formations. I'm pretty excited about them. But you never know until the testing is done. And I'm really close to Friesto getting Supreme Plus. I just need to get... I need to get 1,000 more Gila coins. Or get him from the Stargazing, which will take like another 35 until Pity. So like basically 100 more Gila coins and then 1,000 more Gila coins and I'll have him. So like at the beginning of next week. Because I've gotten all the Gila coins for this week. It was so close. But yeah, then he's going to be pretty good for my PvP teams at Supreme Plus. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Good luck setting your formations. We still have a lot of time, so I might update these formations or give you guys like an updated video. And I'll probably even be setting formations for on other people's accounts. We have 2.5 days for the preparation before it will end. And you're going to be able to place, it looks like, 10 team formations onto the adjacent grids, which we have one to our right because we're the yellow tower, and one to our up ahead of us. The other good thing is the matchmaking seems fair. We have been matched with the top 4, like us and the other 3 guilds of this district are all the top 4 guilds. So they are matching people based on their ranking from something, maybe from guild supremacy, maybe on activity, but this is a really good thing. I'm happy about that, and it gives us the... It makes it kind of more fair, rather than, for example, the strong guilds facing like the weak inactive guilds, which would just not be good at all. Okay guys, and for the other ones, the free-for-all formations, if you're not a Vanguard, you only have to point 3 formations, then you can just copy them from Supreme Arena defenses if you want. The only major thing different is that here, the map is very basic, and they're all symmetrical tiles, so Rainier gets more value, Sylvina gets more value. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about these defense formations, and if you want to talk to me more, ask me specific questions, go ahead and join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video and in the description of all of my videos. And over there we have like chat rooms for all the different game modes, and you can ask me questions. I'll try to respond to you as quickly as I can, and we can just chat about anything. I'm very like active on Discord. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.